One night, I accidentally overheard my wife's call with her mother. "He's breaking his back for these kids, and he still doesn't know the truth. Even my dad helped me cover it up." I didn't lose my temper. I sold every property, left DNA test results inside a wedding anniversary letter, and vanished. 10 years later, I came back as a multi-billionaire, and she was crying outside my office building. I come from a small, dusty corner of Billings, Montana. People there don't have much, but what they have, they damn sure earn. I was raised on early mornings, dirty hands, and the idea that if you worked hard enough, everything would turn out fine. When I met Gina, I thought I'd finally found someone who understood that life. She wasn't from Billings. She grew up 2 towns over, but somehow, fate threw us together at a crappy dive bar on the edge of town. I still remember her that night. Torn jeans, messy blonde hair, drinking whiskey neat, laughing too loud. I didn't think a woman like that would even glance at a guy like me. I wasn't anything special. Just a guy who worked on the railroads, saved up for a tiny 2-bedroom rental, drove a beat-up Dodge Ram with over 200,000 miles on it. But she smiled at me. Started a conversation. And I fell for her like a fool. A few months in, she told me about her son, Jamie. His dad ran off before he was born. She said she admired how hard I worked, that she wanted a real man in her life. I ate that up. I married her within a year. We had nothing at first. She moved into my tiny rental. Jamie started calling me Dad, without me even asking. That kid had a grin that could melt stone. A year after the wedding, Gina told me she was pregnant. I was terrified. I didn't have a college degree, barely had 2 nickels to rub together, but I swore to myself I'd make it work. I picked up side jobs. Landscaping, roofing, cleaning gutters, anything. I barely slept. Some weeks, I'd be so tired I'd park in the driveway and pass out behind the wheel before even making it inside. But it felt worth it. Every scraped knuckle, every sleepless night, it felt like I was building a home, a family, something real. Emma was born. Then, 2 years later, Caleb. 3 kids. A mortgage. A wife who stayed home to take care of them. A man's dream, right? It was stupid how it happened. So damn stupid. Jamie lost a tooth that night. We celebrated like idiots. Gina made cupcakes. I grilled hot dogs. Jamie beamed like he won the lottery. Emma and Caleb ran around the yard, chasing lightning bugs. I went to bed that night thinking I was the luckiest man alive. Around midnight I got up for water. As I passed the kitchen, I heard her voice. She was talking low, but the words were sharp. Edged. "He's breaking his back for these kids, and he still doesn't know the truth. Even my dad helped me cover it up." I froze. Every instinct told me to move, to walk away, but I couldn't. My body wouldn't let me. Then I heard her mother say, "You can't let him find out. You'll lose everything." Gina laughed, a cold, ugly sound I didn't recognize. "Jamie isn't even his. None of them are." That moment split my life in half. Before that second, I was a husband, a father. After, I was nothing. I backed away from the kitchen like a man walking away from a burning house. I didn't even hear the rest of the call. I didn't want to. I didn't confront her. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. Instead, I went cold. I acted normal. Woke up the next morning, made her coffee just the way she liked it. Drove the kids to school. Mowed the lawn. Paid the bills. But inside I was dead. At night, I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our life together. Every kiss, every hug, every "I love you." All of it built on lies. I ordered DNA kits online. Rushed shipping. I waited until the kids passed out in front of the TV one night, then swabbed their cheeks gently. They didn't even stir. A week later the results came. Jamie? 0% probability. Emma? 0%. Caleb? 0%. Not one of them was mine. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the papers until the sun came up. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad anymore. I was something else. Something quieter. Colder. I started selling everything behind her back. First, the rental properties. I'd bought 2 little duplexes over the years, scraping every extra dollar to invest. I sold them fast, under market value, to avoid questions. Next, the landscaping company. I made up some lie about wanting a simpler life, sold it to my buddy Clay for next to nothing. The house was trickier. I told Gina some nonsense about refinancing, got her to sign paperwork she didn't bother reading. A few forged signatures later, it was sold. All the money went into an LLC I created in another state. Gina didn't even notice. She never paid attention to money, always left it to me. Our 10-year anniversary was coming up. She started dropping hints about wanting a vacation, maybe a new car. Instead, I bought a cheap card from Walgreens. A wedding anniversary card. Thick paper, gold lettering, real fancy looking. Inside, I put a copy of the DNA results and a note. Happy anniversary. I'm setting you free. Good luck finding the real fathers. I packed one duffel bag. Left my wedding ring on the table. And I left. By the time she woke up and found the letter, I was 3 states away. I changed my phone number. Deleted all social media. Cut ties with everyone who might rat me out. It wasn't hard. Turns out, when you stop paying for things, people stop calling. I started over in Denver. Got a job doing demolition work. Heavy, brutal work that kept my mind too tired to think. I lived in an apartment above a pawn shop. Slept on a mattress on the floor. Ate ramen noodles and bologna sandwiches. I didn't care. I wasn't living. I was waiting. 6 months in, I saw an ad looking for investors in a small construction company. Guy running it was a lazy drunk but had good contracts with the city. I bought in cheap, clean house, brought in new managers. Within 3 years, we were pulling in 7 figures a year. I sold my stake for $8 million. Took that money and went bigger. Started buying foreclosed homes, fixing them up, flipping them. Then small apartment buildings. Then whole city blocks. While everyone else panicked during the 2008 crash, I swooped in and bought everything I could get my hands on. Within 10 years, I was worth billions. I had offices in Denver, Houston, Vegas. Flew private. Owned skyscrapers. But money wasn't the point. It was never about money. It was about knowing she was still stuck in that same little life, probably still lying, still scheming, while I had built an empire with the hands she once thought were only good for mowing lawns. It happened out of nowhere. I was stepping out of the headquarters downtown, headed to my blacked-out Escalade, when I saw her. Gina. Standing in the rain, soaked to the bone. Clutching some beat-up purse like it was the only thing she owned. Her eyes locked on mine. She ran to me, slipped on the wet sidewalk, fell hard on her knees. She didn't even try to get up. Just stayed there, looking up at me with big, desperate eyes. Please, she choked out. Please, just talk to me. My security detail started to move in, but I waved them off. I wanted to hear this. She crawled a few inches closer on her hands and knees. They left me, she sobbed. The real dads. They all left. I didn't know what to do. I was young. I was scared. I made mistakes. Please, just give me a chance to explain. Explain? Explain what? That you smiled in my face, slept in my bed, took my money, and let me love kids that weren't even mine? That you let me kill myself working 3 jobs so you could sip Starbucks and bitch about being tired. I stared down at her. Rain running off my coat, pooling around her on the concrete. You made your choices, I said quietly. Now live with them. She grabbed my pant leg, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. I loved you. She screamed. I still love you. I yanked my leg free. No, I said. You loved what I could do for you. You loved having a mule to carry your lies. I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. I didn't have to. Some people say revenge is sweet. It's not. It's quiet. Empty. Necessary. But it sure as hell felt better than being the fool. After I walked away, I thought that would be the end of it. I thought she'd crawl back into whatever hole she came from and stay there. I was wrong. 2 days later, my assistant buzzed me while I was in a meeting. Sir, there's a woman downstairs, she says it's urgent. She's crying. Security said she's been here for hours. I didn't have to ask who. I told them to call the cops if she didn't leave in 10 minutes. I didn't go down. I didn't care. But later that night, while I was walking to my car alone, she found me again. Waiting by the parking garage. She looked worse. Skin stretched tight, eyes bloodshot, hair tangled and greasy. She wasn't just crying anymore. She was desperate. Please, she begged, grabbing my sleeve. Please just listen to me. I'm dying. I have nowhere to go. They left me. The kids, they left too. They don't talk to me anymore. They hate me. I yanked my arm away. I'm not your savior, I said coldly. I'm the man you buried a decade ago. She dropped to her knees again. I noticed how thin she was. Like she hadn't eaten in days. She pulled a crumpled photo out of her purse. A picture of Jamie, Emma, and Caleb. Kids I once loved like they were my own. They're grown now, she whispered. They don't even know the truth. They think you abandoned them. That stopped me cold. What did you tell them? I growled. She laughed, a broken, bitter sound. What could I say? That their mom was a lying whore? I turned to walk away, but her voice followed me. They still wait for you, you know. Every birthday. Every Christmas. They wonder why their daddy left without saying goodbye. The rage that had been buried inside me all these years flared hot. I turned back. You don't get to call me that, I said low. You don't get to use that word. She just cried harder. They don't know the truth. She sobbed. They never knew. I told them you died. I told them you were sick and you didn't want them to see you suffer. It felt like someone had punched me in the chest. She told them I was dead. I could have walked away right then. Could have left her sobbing on the concrete. But now it wasn't just about her. Now it was about them. The kids. They thought I was dead. They thought I abandoned them. Because of her. Because of her lies. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt something real inside me. Something hot. Something alive. They deserved the truth. And she was going to help me give it to them, whether she wanted to or not. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my dark penthouse, staring out at the Denver skyline, feeling the anger burn a hole in my gut. She lied to them. She poisoned their memories of me. She made them grow up thinking I was a coward, or worse, thinking I didn't love them enough to say goodbye. No. I wasn't letting that stand. I made some calls. Private investigators, old contacts, a few lawyers who owed me favors. Within a week, I had their locations. Jamie was in Phoenix, working construction. Emma was a junior at a university in Boulder. Caleb was in jail. DUI. Second offense. The news hit me like a slap. My kids, the kids I raised, were a mess. They had no anchor. No one they could trust. No one who ever told them the truth. All because of her. I needed a way to get to them. I knew if I showed up out of the blue, they wouldn't believe me. They'd only know the lies she fed them. I had to be smart. I hired a professional mediator. Someone neutral. Someone they could trust. Through my lawyers, we arranged for each of them to receive a legal notice, an inheritance claim. The claim said a deceased relative had left them something. They needed to show up to hear the terms in person. It was a lie. A small one compared to what they'd been living under. They all agreed to come. Gina, too. She had nowhere else to go. No money. No home. She was crashing in a shelter downtown by then, judging by what my people told me. I rented a neutral office space. Clean. Professional. No company logos. No names. Just a conference table and chairs. And I waited. Jamie arrived first. He was taller than I remembered. Bulkier. Tattoos running up both arms. A man now, not a boy. Emma came next. Long hair, guarded eyes, wearing a hoodie 2 sizes too big. Caleb came in last, looking like hell. Thin, jittery, eyes darting around like he expected a cop to jump out at any second. And then Gina. Looking like a shadow of the woman I once knew. Eyes hollow. Clothes hanging off her like rags. They all sat down. Nobody recognized me at first. I wore a suit now. Cut my hair short. Lost weight. Time and pain had changed my face. I cleared my throat. "Thank you all for coming," I said, voice steady. "You're probably wondering why you're here." They nodded, guarded. I slid a stack of envelopes across the table. One for each of them. Inside were copies of the DNA tests. Copies of my letter to Gina from 10 years ago. Copies of property sales records. Proof. I let them read. The silence was unbearable. Like the whole room was holding its breath. Then Jamie looked up. His hands were shaking. You're not dead?" I shook my head slowly. "No," I said. "I'm not." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Caleb just stared at the table, like he couldn't process any of it. And Gina broke. She fell out of her chair, crawling toward them, sobbing, grabbing at Jamie's jeans. "I had to," she screamed. "I didn't want you to hate me. I didn't want you to know what I did." Jamie stood up so fast his chair clattered to the floor. "You told us he abandoned us," he roared. "You said he left us because he didn't love us." Emma covered her face with her hands, sobbing. Caleb just stood there, shaking his head over and over. "You lied," he whispered. "You lied about everything." Then Jamie turned to me. "But you left too," he said, voice hoarse. "You didn't fight for us. You didn't even try." The words hit harder than any punch I'd ever taken. I opened my mouth to answer, and realized I had none. He was right. I walked away. I let Gina destroy me. I let her take everything, including them. I let my anger, my pride, my pain, be bigger than the love I had for them. In my own way, I abandoned them too. I didn't know what to do, I said quietly. I didn't know how to stay after what I found out. Jamie shook his head. "We were kids," he said. "We didn't care about DNA. We cared about you." Emma looked up, tears streaking her face. "You were my daddy," she whispered. "You're still my daddy." And just like that, something broke loose in me. Something raw. Something that had been buried under 10 years of bitterness. I fell to my knees in front of them. "I'm sorry," I choked out. "I'm so damn sorry." They didn't run. They didn't scream. Jamie stepped forward first. Then Emma. Then Caleb. They wrapped their arms around me, crying, trembling, breaking apart and coming back together all at once. And behind them, Gina lay curled on the floor, screaming and sobbing and completely alone. Exactly where she left me all those years ago. The hug we shared in that cold, empty room didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the years of hurt. It didn't change the mistakes I made. But it was a start. We spent the next few hours talking, crying, arguing. The kids were angry. Confused. Broken. They hated Gina for lying. Hated me for disappearing. And they had every right to. Gina tried to jump in, tried to twist it, to make excuses. But they weren't little anymore. They weren't dumb. They saw her clearly now. Jamie told her straight out, voice shaking with rage. "You don't exist to me anymore." Emma couldn't even look at her. Caleb told her to rot in hell. When it was just me and the kids left, they asked the hard questions. Why didn't I fight? Why didn't I come back sooner? Why didn't I love them enough to stay, even after finding out the truth? And I had to sit there, take every word. Because they were right. I ran. I let my anger drown everything else. I let my pride, my pain, make decisions for me. I convinced myself they were better off without me, but the truth was, I was just scared. Scared of seeing them every day and being reminded they weren't mine. Scared of seeing her face and their smiles. I told them that. I didn't lie. I didn't sugarcoat it. I told them the truth, even though it made me look weak, even though it made them hurt. And somehow, some way, they forgave me. Not right away. Not completely. But they forgave me enough to try. As for Gina? I didn't waste another breath on her. I had my lawyers file a restraining order that same week. She wasn't allowed near me. Wasn't allowed near the kids. She tried to fight it. Tried to drag me into court, screaming about how I abandoned the family and owed her for ruining her life. My lawyers crushed her. I made sure she got nothing. No money. No handouts. No name to ride on. She ended up homeless, wandering from shelter to shelter, a woman nobody wanted, a woman who had once thrown away everything real for a few years of comfort built on lies. Every time she tried to crawl back toward us, the courts shut her down harder. I didn't have to lift a finger. The world did it for me. It took a long time, but Jamie and I built something real again. He works with me now. Part of my company. He's good at it. Smart. Tough. A natural leader. Emma still calls me Daddy. She invites me to every school event, every birthday. She says she doesn't care about blood. Caleb struggled the most. Years of pain and addiction don't just go away. But he's trying. In rehab now. Calls me every week. I tell him I'm proud of him, even on his worst days. I tell them all the truth now. Every day. No lies. No hiding. Just love, the hard, messy, real kind. The kind that doesn't run. Last month, I saw her again. I was walking out of a fundraiser downtown. Jamie was at my side, dressed sharp in a new suit. And there she was. Sitting on the sidewalk, wrapped in a filthy blanket, shaking in the cold. She looked up at us with those hollow, begging eyes. For a second, Jamie hesitated. I put a hand on his shoulder. She made her choices, I said quietly. He nodded. We walked past her without a word. No hate. No rage. No pity. Just silence. Just truth. And that was the real revenge. Leaving her behind the way she once left me, forgotten, alone, and rotting in the mess she created.